Hello, my friend. Welcome. We are in the midst of November. So many of you have been telling me in comments and messages how you've been working on your novels. And even if you're not watching this in real time and it's not November, we're always working on new stories, aren't we, as creative writers and as authors? And I want to celebrate one of my favorite elements of the writing craft in this video, and that is dialogue. We're going to talk a bit about some mistakes that can be made with dialogue that can take your reader out of the story and just sound kind of fake. We want our dialogue to sound very realistic. So grab yourself a cup of tea. Let's delve into it. I'm drinking this really delicious Yogi stress relief blend, and it is just soothing my soul. Dialogue has always been my favorite aspect of writing. It flows really easily for me. I always look forward to it. I'm always racing to get to the next piece of dialogue because this is really where our characters come to life. This is where they get their voice, literally. And when we begin to use the character's voice and become one with the character's voice by stepping into their shoes, we start to unravel their internal conflict and really put that on full display for the readers. But there are ways that we can introduce dialogue that pulls our readers back out of the story and causes them to think, wait a sec, that doesn't sound anything like what this character would say. It doesn't sound realistic. So what are some of those mistakes? Number one is characters speaking perfectly. Have you ever read a book that sounds like every single character is sort of born with this dictionary in their heads and they're saying everything with perfect grammar? They don't really have any changes in accent or any considerations for what their accents might be. It's all sort of just sounds like everybody is a college professor, an English teacher or something. And you're thinking to yourself, wait a second, this has no flavor. It's just everyone's speaking absolutely perfectly. When you look at how people talk in real life, and this is the best way to do it, is to listen to how people speak in real life. Whether you're in a checkout line, you're listening to someone talk behind you, around you, or whether you're watching a TV show and you're listening to how the characters are communicating, if it's a well-written TV show, you can hear that there are so many nuanced changes in how one person will speak from the next, depending on where they come from, their region, their accent, maybe things that are specific to them personally. These are the things that make our dialogue sound colorful and realistic. It's also what makes character voices distinct too. So when we have too many characters speaking with perfect grammar, it begins to sound fake because, let's face it, not everybody talks in correct grammar. We structure sentences in a lot of different ways, depending on what our frame of mind is, our emotions are. If our emotions are running high, we might be speaking faster, we might be paying less attention to grammar. So there's so many things to consider when we're writing dialogue. What is actually happening inside the character and in that scene? That's going to affect how they are speaking. And when they're speaking too perfectly and too cleanly all the time, it just doesn't feel real. Number two, characters speaking too much or only through verbal communications. We don't really think about nonverbal communications actually being a part of the dialogue, but it does have a place within the dialogue. When we're watching a well-acted film or a TV series, we're not just listening to what the characters have to say, we're paying attention to what are they doing with their body language, what are they doing with their eye movements, how are they looking at the other characters, what is their face expression communicating to the other characters. There's so much more to dialogue than what is just being spoken verbally. There's also those nonverbal cues and nonverbal communication, the body language that is like that subfloor beneath the dialogue, and it's going to act to enhance the dialogue rather than everything feels static except for what is verbally being spoken. So that's one of the things that can also pull us out of the story when we're not really sure, what does this person look like when they're saying this? Who are they looking at? What are they doing with their hands? What are they doing with their body? What is their posture saying? All of these things are going to clue us in on that extra dimension to this conversation. Number 3, characters becoming too vulnerable, too fast, or bearing their souls. Nothing feels faker than when a character just blurts out exactly what their top secret feelings are to someone they barely know, or to someone that we haven't really built up a relationship with in the story. Of course, there is a time and place for a character to bare their soul to another character, for sure. But we have to make sure that the timing is right. And oftentimes I've seen in books and films where the characters are becoming too vulnerable too fast with just anyone because the author wasn't sure how to communicate this deep internal conflict or this secret that they have. How do we communicate that? We just have to have them come right out and say it, and it just comes across feeling a little unrealistic. It pulls us out of the moment because we start to wonder, would anyone actually do that? And like I said, there is a time and place for it, but we have to make sure it feels earned, because when it feels unearned, it just takes it to that level of a little too fantastic for reality. Number 4, characters sounding too much like other characters. So create vernacular, create authentic accents and specific ways that characters speak that's unique to them. There's so many ways you can do this, and I love playing around with this, whether it's maybe their accent or where they're from, or just phrases that only they use. When we start to, and this can be a mistake we run into a lot with writing first person perspectives with alternating point of views, we want it to feel like you're stepping into that character's shoes, and we're not just in the frame of mind of the author who is sort of the voice of every single character. We want each character to sound like a real person, right? Not just a character, but a real live person with their own unique way of speaking. So it can be worth it to assign a voice to that character and really dwell on, okay, how do they speak? How do they carry themselves? What kind of accents they have? What kind of phrases do they like to use? What flavor do they use in the way that they talk? Because that's going to be specific to that character. And when we start to pin down each character and their unique voice, they start to sound so specifically them. We get into their skin, into their shoes, and we really become that character. There's no mistaking whose voice it is. We could open up the book right in the middle and be like, oh, I know whose point of view this is, because of how they're speaking, how the dialogue is written. And last but not least, when characters info dump because the author couldn't figure out any other way to get this info across. So we've all dealt with this, whether it's world building or creating a complicated government system. Sometimes we have some information. We don't want to just info dump it in prose. We want, okay, let's have the characters communicate it to each other, right? In a conversation. But sometimes it can be such a hefty amount of information that we just end up dispensing it all through one big monologue that a character has, and our readers can be left wondering, how did that character know all of that, and why did they feel the need to just blurt it all out in this extremely long speech that had me skimming the page? There can be great ways to pepper this into a conversation, weave it in, make it really artful, but we do want to avoid doing a huge info dump through just a character's monologue. We want to find a better way to weave it into the conversation, avoiding just purely info dumping through our characters. So those are the top 5 things that I was thinking about over coffee the other day. It's like, yeah, for me, those are the things that make dialogue feel or sound fake, whether it's in something I'm watching, a movie, or a book I'm reading. That will kind of snap me out of the character's shoes and make me question, wait, what is happening? Would they really say that? You know what I'm saying? What about for you? I want you to comment below and tell me what you would add to this list, because I think there's a lot more than what I've listed here. What are some things that do it for you that you're like, That just sounds a little bit odd. That sounds a little off. It pulls me out of the story. It can be so helpful to identify these things as writers because it's all stuff that we put into our tool bag, right? It's things that help us to make our own writing better, because when we identify the things we don't want to do, we can fix them and transform our writing, making it even tighter, making it even more powerful and impactful. And that's why I wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to actually be doing a really, really cool teaching about this very topic, but I'm going to flip it on its head, and I'm going to teach you the ways I fix all of that in my own writing. And I'm actually going to pull up documents and show you exactly how I fix it. We're going to have actual pieces of dialogue, and we're going to go through it. You're going to look right over my shoulder. I'm going to show you. It's going to be a live Zoom call. It's going to be amazing. And this is all part of a new special challenge that I've just launched called the Muse Challenge. The Muse Challenge is a monthly virtual summit for writers, uniquely curated to help you zero in on your creative edge and reach your fullest potential as a writer. When you join the Muse Challenge, you're joining a group of visionary novelists embarking on fresh monthly challenges that I myself am curating. They're specifically designed to help you crush your writing goals and skyrocket your creative inspiration as a writer. At each virtual summit, we'll discuss a selected topic delving into an aspect of the writing craft. I'll present you with a new challenge to take into your own writing practice for the month. I'll give you a free monthly booklet providing you with the notes from the summit, prompts, and ideas to use as a springboard for an astonishingly productive and fun month of writing to your fullest potential. From blending genres and mixing spellbinding magic systems to crafting heart-melting character flaws and page-turning plot twists, each Muse Challenge is designed to make you look at your book from a fresh perspective, a bird's eye view, where you not only inspire the muse, you literally become the muse in your own fantastic fictional universe. The Muse Challenge is for novelists looking to kick their writing up a notch, writers searching for innovative ways to soar above writer's block, and storytellers who are excited to connect with their inner magic through the power of creativity. All you have to do is go to my Patreon page, which is linked in the description below, and select the Muse Challenge tier. When you support at the Muse Challenge Summit level, you'll receive attendance to the monthly virtual summits, a monthly ebook filled with scribblings from the talk, an outline of the challenge, and a grab bag of ideas and prompts to get you started. And of course, access to the exclusive Muse Challenge Facebook group where writers will gather to support each other and share their journeys. So I'm curating each monthly challenge to take everything we're going to talk about at the summit and turn it into a challenge that we can then take into our writing all that month. So we're gonna be talking about dialogue at this first one at our inaugural summit. I'm so excited because I love dialogue. I feel like it's my favorite part of writing, is writing dialogue. And so we'll be discussing that first, and I'll be crafting a challenge for you to use in your own writing. This will help you to spark new inspiration for your work, to see it from a different perspective, a different angle. It can be so helpful to pull back and look at our work from a different perspective. And the Muse Challenge is designed to do exactly that. This is an idea that I've been turning around in my head for a while, a way that we can get together as a group of creatives, a group of writers, and just brainstorm a certain topic about the writing craft together, and then frame it up as a challenge to take it into our writing. Like, okay, now let's take that thing, let's take those concepts, frame them up, and implement them. And I'm so excited to see where it takes you in your writing journey, how it helps you, and I will be here for you every step of the way. I'll be in the Facebook group, and we'll all be kind of sharing and encouraging each other throughout the month, showing each other how we're implementing the challenge in our own work. I'm so excited about this. It's a new thing, and I would so appreciate your support, your participation. I think it's going to really help you connect to your inner creative power and that magic that's inside of you. So Check that out with the link below in the description. I would absolutely love to see you there. Be sure to click subscribe if you haven't already, because I would love to have you here so you don't miss the next video. And I would absolutely adore to have you here in the community, this beautiful community of creatives and mindful artists, artists of life. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below and let me know what you would add to this list of dialogue mistakes. What's something that makes you cringe maybe when you read it? Something that makes you laugh and wonder if someone would really say that in real life? And what's something you always put into your dialogue that you're like, this is something that I always do because it feels so realistic. It makes me connect with my characters, and that's my little piece of magic right there. Comment below and tell me. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. I wish you so much joy in your journey, and I'll see you in the next video.